that will begin in January of 2021. So, all right, Stuart, you ready to get into this week's set of news, man?
Indeed, let's do it.
Let's do it, guys. Let's do it. So the first story that we want to go ahead and talk about today, guys, is we're going to go right off the top with our main article, and this actually comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter. If there is one character I feel out there that a lot of people have been asking and maybe buzzing about, whether it be another live-action television series, hell, maybe another animated series, maybe even a movie of its own. One of those characters has, in fact, been Static Shock, a character that was introduced to us way back in the 90s, and ever since then has just continued to gather steam in regards to his popularity. And it seems as though, ladies and gentlemen, we finally will be getting ourselves a Static Shock movie. This comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter, letting us know that Micheal B. Jordan and the Outlier Society set to produce a DC movie, Static Shock. This is an exclusive report for them. It says Jordan will join Reginald Hudlin on the feature project that was first revealed during August's DC Fandom event. Micheal B. Jordan is boarding Warner Brothers and DC Static Shock as a producer. It does say the movie jolts the project up a few kilowatts. See what they did there? It says, giving the cult hero some firepower as it goes into active development. This is what Micheal B. Jordan says. He says, I'm proud to be part of building a new universe centered around I'm proud to be a part of building a new universe centered around Black superheroes. Our community deserves that, said Jordan in a statement to the Hollywood Reporter. Outlier Society is committed to bringing to life diverse comic book content across all platforms, and we are excited to partner with Reggie and Warner Brothers on this initial step. Now, it does say that Outlier will be the creative center of the Static feature, and for Jordan, a comic book fan, this is an opportunity for not only for some world building, but to be directly involved in franchise building. Should the first movie spark a hit, a multi-platform franchise could in fact be born. It does go on to talk a little bit about Static Shock in regards to its first appearance in 1993 for Milestone Comics, which is a now defunct company funded by Black writers and artists to help make comics more inclusive space, and which had a distribution through DC. So DC did distribute Milestone Comics back in 1993. So, man, you know what, Stuart? To be honest with you, man, I actually grew up a ton on Milestone Comics. It definitely is a set of titles that I believe actually my parents kind of introduced me to be honest with you, letting me know about this line of fantastic Milestone comic books. I mean, starting off with Static, we had, I don't want to say the Iron Man side of things in hardware, but we also had like our Superman for Milestone and Icon here. We also had, I don't want to say their Justice League because they were far from getting justice, if you will, but the Blood Syndicate also, like some really great features and titles that Milestone Comics created back in 1993 that from time to time has sort of made its presence known in the DC universe. And I believe, if anything, Milestone Comics is now starting to have an even bigger presence now. So to see a Static Shock go from a comic book from 1993 to fame with its animated series, the idea that we're now possibly getting ourselves a Static Shock movie makes me out of this world. Honestly, I'm super excited for this. This is honestly like even watching on Stuart, like even watching Black Lightning on a weekly basis, there is always a part of me wondering, are we going to get Static Shock in the DC television universe or in some capacity, right? So there definitely is an urge and a want for this character. So props to Outlier Society and Micheal B. Jordan for certainly coming on board to doing Static Shock. Do you think he's going to play Static Shock? Do you think he's a little bit too old for the role, or you think when it comes to this movie, at least producer and maybe hands on other things? What do you think, Stuart, in regards to this news?
I definitely would not want him playing Static Shock because, yeah, because I guess the Static Shock that I grew up with was always like a high schooler. So I wouldn't necessarily want to see, someone, I think Michael B. Jordan's like in his 30s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's up there.
So I would want someone like really young to play the role, essentially. But yeah, I do think him as a producer, and if he plays like another role in the movie, whether it's like his dad or like just a villain in the movie, like I think that's a brilliant idea. And yeah, I think bringing these comic books to life is, we've seen before, this will be successful if they do something like this. Not only because audiences want more diverse superheroes, but because I think I've mentioned this on the show before. When I was like young, Static Shock was a huge hit. Like when it was on TV, like a lot of people I knew, even people who weren't nerds, loved talking about Static Shock.